Everybody, and thank you for joining us on another episode of our Mystical Wellness podcast. And this evening, I am joined by a radiant and wonderful guest, and we have Swailes, the friendly green witch, joining us. And she's a professional Wiccan and Reiki practitioner based in West Leeds, known for her Crystal Reiki sessions, sigil magic, custom spell work, and she's also the host of the Bell Witch podcast. And she runs a magical Depop shop, Clothes and Curios, a treasure trove of authentic decks and divination tools. So hopefully this evening we'll be diving into witching in the 21st century, raising magical kids, pagan parenting, and so much more. So Swailes, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm good, yeah. I don't really know what to expect because I've never recorded like this before, so it's exciting.
It is exciting, yeah. So tell us a bit about yourself. So how did it get started for you? When did you realize that you were a magical person?
Quite late on, really. I was a goth growing up, a nice depressed goth, and I went into alt music and that. And then I had my first baby at 30, and I started hanging around with all the mums, that breastfeed and like baby wear and worship goddesses and do little retreats and they, were into witchcraft and Wicca and stuff. And I'd never really considered the notion of being a witch before then. I mean, I knew about witches and I believed they were true, and I loved the craft and practical magic and all the good 90s stuff. And I cannot believe even now that I didn't make that connection that, ooh, I might be a witch, because I was just so into the goth. And it were massive for me when I was young. But it still wasn't enough. There was something missing. And then when I met these mums who were drawing yonis and walking labyrinths and doing all that really cool stuff that was so brand new to me, I was joining online Facebook groups like the Punky Mums. I think there was baby wearing basics and all that kind of stuff. And then one of the mums who is semi-famous in sort of Bradford, Leeds area, Charlotte the Magpie Mama. At the time, she was running these amazing creative mornings every Wednesday from 9 till whenever we got kicked out, which for me was really late, like 2 p.m. or something. And Charlotte were doing these rainbow soul surprise boxes, and there were a different theme every month. And they were all the rage back then, like nearly 10 years ago. Everybody was into them. And I got one. And I think it must have been well into my subscription that a witch themed one came through my door. And it was so brilliant. It had like a tiny little cauldron. It had a few herbs and a book called Witch by Lisa Lister. And I read this book and it just spoke to my soul. It were like everything I know to be true deep within was there on the pages. And to be fair, it's not the best book to begin witchcraft with. I mean, it is very turfy, it is very, like born a woman, womb centric and stuff. And there's a place for that. Of course, there is a place for that. I'm not dissing that, but at the time, it was enough to open them floodgates. And so I started sort of dabbling in a little bit of herbal and a little bit of spell work. And then I Googled local witches. You probably know this story, but the day I Googled it, it was a Saturday. I thought there must be some local witches around me in Leeds. And the Wicked Lady was the first line. So I clicked her and she were actually out on a stall as I was searching. So I was a bit like, oh, what are the odds?
That's amazing.
It is. So I got my butt in the car and I went straight to Harrogate because it was Harrogate Gem Festival in the pavilion. And she was there with a stall. It took me a bit of courage to speak to her, but she was lovely. I mean, we know Louise, she was lovely. She made me feel right at home, like as a complete novice who knew nothing about it other than practical magic and the craft. And she said, "Oh, I'm thinking about starting a witch school in September. Do you think you'd sign up?" And I was just like, "What? Yes. Oh my God, yes." So I'm a proper OG student of the Wiccan Lady. And a lot of what I know is from Louise Bloomer. She's taught me so
Yeah.
much. I mean, I've always been quite depressed and stuff as a young person. I've had quite a turbulent past. And witchcraft is just so positive. Like it has really lit up my life. It has really fulfilled me, and it carries on to do so. So I did the whole 3 years with her, and then she's done an extra year, like higher magic, which I'm doing right now.
Yeah, me too. This is
Yeah,
the fourth
there
year.
you go.
Yeah. So, but just like you, I stalked Louise for a couple of years, maybe, and trying to work up the courage to think, should I do this witches school? I've been a witch since I was 8 years old, so for me it was not a big surprise. But I'm a very lazy witch. I'm literally the worst witch. So I grew up on those books, and yeah, so I stalked her a little bit. I went on her website. Then she was in a Leeds show, so I actually went to the show to check it out before I started booking onto shows myself. So that was about 6 years ago, maybe. And then I started the shows and I joined Witches School as well, which for me is all about the community, really, isn't it? I was so lucky. The people on mine were amazing.
It is. It's lovely to be with people who understand it and
Yeah.
are quite open and not judgmental mostly. And, you could talk about weird stuff and nobody
Mm.
backs away.
So, what do your family think about you being a witch then?
My husband is fine with it. I mean, I've been with him over 20 years now, and he's always known me to be a bit of a weirdo. And he's very straight-laced. He likes football, psychobilly, beer, hanging out with his mates. He's not spiritual at all, but he really respects anything that makes me happy. So he completely, he knows I've got my space. If he sees something that'll go nice on an altar, he'll buy me it. Like anniversary presents and stuff. He actively looks for witchy stuff. But he loves it a different way because he loves it because it makes me happy. So that's nice.
So, you're known as the friendly green witch. And when I first met you, you had on this big brown hat and a big long coat, I think, and you were just gliding around the show, really mysterious. I think I've still got your card somewhere, actually, in one of my boxes. And so the friendly green, which I remember thinking is like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
I love it. I don't know how I came up with that name. I think because how it began professional witchcraft was because it's an interesting story. When my second baby was born, I was training to be a breastfeeding peer supporter with NCT, and I were, hell bent. That is my route. I'm going to help mums give birth. I'm going to help them feed. I'm going to love it. And then, of course, that terrible time in 2020, which we must not name, came along and just uprooted everybody and shut everything down. I was running NCT groups and they were so well received and the top of the game, and I was loving life, and both my babies were benefiting, and then it got severed like everything did. And I was looking around my house going, what can I sell on proper skin? And I started just selling witch stuff that I'd had for years. And it turned out I had quite an eye for buying and selling tarot decks because I grew up with them. So tarot and oracle are kind of like siblings to me because my mum was a really, really gifted psychic medium. She was amazing at it. And this was before the internet. She used to go up to people and know stuff about them and they'd be astonished. So I had lots of stuff that I'd collected throughout my life and never really used, and just thought, oh, I'll try and sell it. And I made a fortune. I was a bit like, oh, a new career. So Clothes and Curios was born. And I did that for a good 3 years. And I were proper milking it with ace. I were making loads of money. And then, of course, life came back and everybody stopped buying stuff on the internet. So then I was like, oh my God, I've got all this wholesale stuff. What am I gonna do with it? And I didn't want to do a stall because I've done that and I've been there with jewelry designing years ago before motherhood and witchcraft. And it is the hardest thing to sit on a stall and not sell anything. It
It
really
is.
is
It's really
soul
competitive out
destroying.
there as well. Because
Yeah.
I'm more mystical wellness, and I used to have a witchy stall, just like Louise, the Wiccan lady, and I used to sell primarily crystals and witchy stuff. And it's just got more and more flooded the market. People have got less money available, but there's more sellers there, and it's got really hard. So now I just do random stuff like shamanic drums occasionally and stuff like that. But it's really hard, yeah. Even people who started to make their own spell kits and things, it's got really popular. These are people who've probably not had any training or anything at all, just putting it out there. It's mad. Oh yeah. So what did you do?
I got my Reiki 1 and 2 which at the time it wasn't about making money, it was about healing just for me and my pets and my kids and my plants and my husband when he's asleep. And, I did Reiki 1 and 2 during that year when we were all locked in. And I went to a retreat when we were allowed to, and somebody was saying, "Oh, my back really hurts." And I went, "Oh, I'll do some Reiki if you want." And they were like, "What? You're a Reiki practitioner? You've not told anybody?" I was a bit like, "Oh no, I just thought, dunno, just did it for myself." So one retreat, I just Reiki'd loads of people and thought to myself, "Oh my gosh, I'm missing a trick here. I should totally try and do this professionally." So I've just got 1 and 2. I've not got 3, and I'm always on the fence whether to get it or not because, there's the whole ego thing. It's not about your ego. You don't have to be
Yeah.
level 3 to do it to other
No. I
people.
mean, Reiki Master, I mean, they've made it more than one level now, haven't they, for Reiki Master? But that's your life's work, is how I teach it. It's like, it's taking your personal practices to the next level. It's not really about you and students and things like that. Primarily, it's about you advancing on your spiritual journey. That's how I teach Reiki Master stuff. Yeah. So I would always put that first before becoming the master teacher,
Yeah.
thinking about how you're going to progress on your Reiki journey. Yeah. But Louise, the Wiccan lady, she teaches Reiki Master, I think.
I know she's my teacher with that as
Yeah.
well. But I don't want to teach. I just want to heal.
Maybe different
So
for you. So you'll get an
yeah,
additional symbol, but you'll get heightened senses. You'll get like a faster connection to the energies and things like that. So it doesn't. When I first started years ago, there wasn't really that master teacher title. It wasn't really there, and there wasn't all these extra levels. That it's become really like pyramid scheme now or something. I don't know. But yeah, but it's more about you and the connection to the energy and then just advancing spiritually. Yeah. So when you're ready, it'll pop into your awareness and you'll think, yeah, I'm going to do it.
it will, and it'll be easy, and it'll be
Yeah,
affordable. And at the moment, it's not.
exactly.
So
Exactly. It should still be affordable.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Mad. So do you do many Reiki clients now? Do you have people? Do you have a clinic? Do you have people into your home? How do you do it?
So I'm starting the journey with that. I do have residency up at the Crystal booth in Horsforth with my friend Angela Booth, who is also Reiki healer and light language coordinator. She lends me a room and I go up there maybe once a week, not very often.
Yeah. Did I see
But
that they've moved locations?
yeah, they have now. They're
Yeah.
near the train station area. They used to be in Eden, just up the road from me, which is how I got involved with it because I just used to toddle up and sit with her and cat and drink coffee with her. And I'm also looking into doing mobile Reiki and also pet Reiki because every
Oh
time
yeah.
I go to people's houses to heal them, animals come and want it too, which is lovely. And I'm really animal centered. I love
Yeah.
animals. I've got a zoo at my house and they've always really relaxed and healed me of animals. So that just seems like a no-brainer to do animals as well.
Yeah. I used to do a lot of animal distance healing when I lived in India. So people would just send me a photo of their pet, and I'd have lots of little different teddies depending on what the animal was. And my son would sit there with his little teddy, and we'd reiki the animal bears.
Oh, it's lovely.
So, what did you do for the solstice? That's
Oh,
yeah,
I went to Scarborough and I sat by the beach on the 20th of September. Oh, September, that's my birthday. The 20th of June, which is my mum's birthday. So I actually went to York in the beginning for the International Disciplinary Witch Conference, I think it's called. And it were all these students that had done papers on lots of different things connected to witchcraft, and it was brilliant. It was at St John's University. It was amazing. And then I got the train to Scarborough, got on the beach, and the beach was deserted, and the tide was out, so there were loads and loads of beach to sit on. And I got a picture of my mum, and I lit a little candle and some incense, and tucked it into the sand, and just spoke to her really, and watched the sun go down, which was very late and cried a bit. It was very emotional, actually. It was a full circle because I'm 40 this year and she died 2 weeks before she was 40. So I'm going to become older than her in September, which is massive, absolutely
It
massive
is
for me.
actually. Yeah, my mum
Yeah.
passed when she was 52, and I'm going to be 50 this year. And my two older sisters have already gone past the age that our mum was when she died. So it's big. Yeah, it is emotional. Whether you're connected to that person closely or not, it's still there's something about outliving your parent that's really weird and uncomfortable. Yeah. Mm.
It is, and I just can't imagine being this age and becoming me and knowing who you are. It seems a very 40s era of people's lives, like you're sick of it, you just be just authentic self.
Mm.
And I often think, can you imagine being told you're going to die at this age? I
Yeah.
mean, that
Mm.
just blows my mind.
Yeah.
So I've healed a little bit more thinking about that because for a long time I was mad with her that she'd left and she went ill and lots of other stuff. It's taken me a good 20 years to forgive the situation and forgive
Mm.
her in some respects. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
It is. It's good that you could do that. That's good. Doing it on the solstice is really powerful. Yeah. Oh, so you've got this amazing podcast, which is award-winning
Oh,
podcast. Award-winning. I couldn't believe it when I was doing the research into it. And you started it more than 2 years ago. So why
hmm.
did you start the podcast?
Well, I love podcasts. I absolutely adore them. I listen to them all the time. And I was listening to one at the time. It was called Single, Fat and 40. So not very witchy, but the woman who run it were brilliant. She was so funny. And then the cult mother, don't know if you know cult mother, because I'm in her,
Yeah, I know Cult Mother.
I'm in
Not
her gang as
personally, but
well.
I know you did an interview with Cult Mother, and I thought that's awesome. She's a pretty cool lady. Yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome. I've been in the community since it began. It's a really nice space. So she joined Sarah on this single fat and 40, and then it abruptly stopped. And I was gutted. I remember being at the gym on treadmill and it finished. And I was a bit like, where's the next episode? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So I was bugging Sarah on Instagram, like, please start it again. And she were like, if you're that bothered, you should start one. And at the time, I was doing the artist way, which was opening me up to all kinds of cool creativity, like poetry, entering magazines and stuff. So I thought to myself, actually, why not do one? But then I was a bit like, oh my God, I've no idea about any of this. I don't have any training. I'm not musical. I'm not. I know what I like, and I know I like audio, and I'm just really, really badly dyslexic, so I can't spell or write or anything, but I can talk for England. So I was looking into it, and then I got a buddy on board to help me start it, and she did about 10 episodes. And then it changed quite dramatically when she left because I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing now, and I've got a vision in mind and confidence. And yeah, I got nominated for Pagans of the North
That's
twice,
amazing.
twice,
Nice. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
this year as well. And I won the Hub Hopper Awards, which is an American one, which
Mm.
I can't believe I won, to be honest, because I was against two really well-established ones. One was a um, one about, I think, tech, like computers and stuff, and one was an army one about army in America, which is massive, isn't it? So I was a bit
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to win this,
Wow.
and I won.
That's amazing. That's so cool. Do you have like one favorite guest that really sticks out? I mean, Cult Mother Tarot, she's got 100 and over 100,000 followers on Instagram. She's a big deal. So, who's your favorite guest that you interviewed?
Oh, that's such a
Top,
hard
top five.
question. Oh, that's rotten, that.
Do you know any?
There's a few.
Yeah.
Shannon Pearl was a recent guest, and we got on like an house on fire. We're very similar. And also Laura May Moon on the boat, the kitchen witch on the boat. I get on with her really well as well. So it's not really about their interview, it's about how I connect with guests. Some guests I'm just like, I could be your mate. Let's go to the pub right now.
How do you do it? Do you do it in person then? Is that how you normally record? What do you do?
No, I do it online, something similar to Zoom that
Yeah.
is for podcasters called Zencaster.
I've not even heard of it.
And yeah, and because
Yeah.
it records locally, so if the internet's shoddy, it doesn't matter. It'll
Yeah.
send you a perfect recording, and I love it, absolutely love it. And I just scour the internet and I hear people talk about people and I listen to podcasts. And if I hear a guest, I'll go ask them. And sometimes I just look for a lot of herbal stuff, and then Instagram then knows what you're looking for, doesn't it? And it gives you
Mm.
people. And that's really how I get my guests. And also people ask me to come on, and I never turn anybody away,
Yeah.
not unless they're like into Jesus and believe the devil and all that. I turn them away. I absolutely turn them away.
Yeah.
But
I've
no,
not had
yeah.
that many people say they want to come on. I've only had like one person message me, and we've still not been able to like get a date for this, Andrew, for 101 frequency. And I'd love to have him on, but I'd love to have him on the group so that we can all experience his amazing healing. So for me, I love being able to share it with everyone rather than just me doing it one-to-one, because when you're dealing with healing and stuff, yeah, but like you being the guest though, it's quite hard to be the guest. It's actually
It,
harder to be the
oh,
guest than it is to be the host,
you're
right?
telling me this is well out of my comfort zone. It's taken me ages to get here. Two
Yeah.
2 years it's taken me to get the ball to do it. And the first one I ever did was I think it's called Real Life Ghost Stories or Your Ghost Stories or something. It's not the big one, with Emma. It's not that one. It's a smaller one with a guy called Jamie, who's actually quite a famous singer now. He's started to project. And that was the first time I did it, and I was so nervous. I was probably sweating bullets. And it was just about ghosts. It were not witchy or anything. But oh my God, I hope I say the right thing. I hope I'm interesting. Oh my God.
Have you had personal ghost experiences then?
Loads,
Still
yeah.
scared, do you?
I grew up with it, didn't I? Because my mum were all spooky and
Well, tell us one. Tell us one of your ghost stories. What
there's
have you seen?
the famous haunted Veruca. That's quite a big story now. I told it on Uncanny, the theatre production. I told it to Danny. So I must have been about 14, and it were an evening. I want to say a Friday evening, about 8 o'clock. I was getting ready for bed. I had my foot in the sink because I had this verruca that I could not shift. It was annoying, and you've got to like clear it and put the cream on and stuff. My mum was downstairs and she had a house full of guests, all laughing and being silly. And then as I had my foot in the sink, I heard this coughing coming from my mum's room, like really breathy, trying to clear your throat coughing. I didn't hang about. I zoomed downstairs, ran to my mum, scared all the guests, like, whoa, because I bust in and I said, there's somebody in your room, mum. Somebody's coughing up there. And she was so cool. She was like, there's nobody there. I said, there is. I can hear them. They're coughing. They're like, there's something wrong with them. You need to go check. And clear as day, cool as cucumber, she just looked at me and went, is your granddad? Yeah, I can feel he's here. And I was a bit like, you what? Because he died 6 months before I was born. Or 6 months after, yeah, because he saw me as a baby 6 months after I was born. And I was a bit like, all right then, do you want to come up and put me to bed? And she was like, go to bed yourself, you're old enough. And if he comes back, just in your mind or out loud, say, I know you're there, Grandad, I'm scared. Can you leave me alone? I was a bit like, okay, I suppose. No. Ah. So she kind of were doing the whole go upstairs now, it's grown up time, go to bed. So I tentatively went back up the stairs. I put my foot back in the sink and there were no sound. And I started doing my Veruca again. And I think I started humming, because I was so frightened. I was so, so frightened. And it came back. It started coughing again. And I thought, this can't be true. Because I imagined there'd be some guy in a bed or something, some homeless guy or a burglar or something. I don't know how I did it, but I had the guts to walk along the hallway, turn my mum's light on, look in the bedroom, and the coughing was still there. And it sounded like it was coming from down the side of the bed near the window. So I somehow crept over the bed and looked, and there were nobody there, and I could still hear it. So I kind of stood up and freaked out a little bit. And as I did that, it got really loud. It was as if somebody had put this on me like this and turned it up really gradually. And so it was almost deafening. And I remember saying, I don't know if I said it in my head or out loud, but I just went, I'm really scared, Grandad, please stop. I'm really scared. And it just died away as if it'd gone backwards. I've got goosebumps. And that is,
Granddad.
yeah, I
Thanks for
know.
joining us.
So weird. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I swear it was clear
Oh,
as
that's so
day.
brave. Oh
And
my gosh.
yeah, yeah, it was so good. It's probably
What
my
happened to the
most.
verruca?
It must have gone. Maybe it got scared off. I don't know.
Yeah, I am open to the idea of spirit, but I'm scared. So
I'm
yeah,
not scared now. I mean, I love
I'm
it
still
now.
scared. I'm still scared. I grew up in a really old, big villa, and I still have this. Even now, it just comes to my mind. It's black at the top of the stairs, and I'm at the bottom, like shaking. Yeah, I'm not
Mm.
good at things like that. But that's mad. Oh, do you do much psychic mediumship work? Do you do it
I,
in your readings and?
I don't do read. I try to. I try and do some on a Sunday night with a mirror and a candle. And I haven't done it for a while actually because life. But I did get about a year ago, I was doing it often and reading up on how to connect, putting your fingers in water and
Yeah.
staring at yourself. And I used to write down what I got. And I used to get some really good stuff actually, just like names and faces and pet names of people. And I once got this guy telling me about the boot of his plane, and I was a bit like, do planes have boots? And I wrote it all down and I Googled it, and it turns out the boot is actually part of the wing that moves. I know nothing about planes, and that's why he crashed, because the boot wouldn't open.
Yeah. Wow.
And I was a bit like, how could I know that?
Yeah.
Amazing. And I did a ghost hunt about a couple of years ago. And it was fantastic. I did table tipping.
Oh yeah. I've
And
not done table tipping.
it was legendary. So we were doing the ghosting all night and nothing much was happening, but I knew something was going to happen later on. And me and a mum and daughter duo went up on his own to the like top floor with a table in the middle. Them little ghost boxes that give you names, like random names. So it was in the middle of the table and we all had his fingers on the table and this name kept coming up that said Jason. So we were like saying, Jason, if you're there, can you help us? We're really weak women and we can't move this table and we want to move it. And I could feel it and it were like shuddering and kind of moving really weirdly. And then the woman who was running it came to us and said, look, it's time to stop. And we were like, no, please, please, it's going to move. It's going to move. We can feel it. We can feel it. And she was like, 10 minutes to then we're going just after midnight. And I remember it moved like a tiny little bit, like, it's like, oh my God, it moved. And we were all like, yeah, it moved, it moved, it moved. And then the beautiful thing was the woman who was running it came back up and said, we're done. And as she said that, it moved about 3 foot to the wall. We had to move with it. And it was just fantastic. It was like I'd won the lottery. It's like, that is an amazing experience to physically walk with it. But even just the vibration of it was really weird. It's like nothing you could really, perform as a human being because it was just moving really odd and yeah. Oh,
That sounds amazing. I've already done like a couple of things like that. They're a bit weird for me, so I'll talk about that on another show because there was a cat involved, a
cool.
cat spirit, and
Even
I
spirit boards, though. I mean, do you use spirit boards?
well, the cat came on the spirit board, is what it was,
Ah,
and there was only a few of us there, but there was a couple of people there that we didn't really know, and there was one lady who'd been drinking alcohol, so of course spirits don't like spirits, so we weren't getting a lot through, and then the medium kind of saw like next to me a cat just kind of flashed in and she said, oh, this cat, that's weird. And then she was saying, why aren't we getting everyone, this is yes and this is no. And as she did it, it moved them because the cat was able to put it in the right direction. It was my cat that had come to give me a message. It was one of my cats, one of my black cats. Yeah, which is a bit mad. Yeah.
I do have a spirit board and I really treasure it. It's such a positive item of
Yeah.
divining. It's a divining tool, isn't it? I think the Ouija board, I don't really like calling it that because it's just charged in it, but the
Mm.
spirit board is just like a bit higher than a deck of tarot, I think.
Okay.
But when I use the board, spirit around me going like, what you got that out for? You don't need that. I can
Yeah.
just wait, and I feel a bit foolish, because they kind of look at me going like, what do you think it is? I don't need that, but
That makes sense. That makes sense.
anyway.
So tell us a bit about your witchy stuff. Who do you like to work with, or what kind of things do you like to do? Is it mainly herbology, or what do you like?
Oh, I love sigils, me. I'm a
Yeah,
sigil witch.
I
They
like a
are
bit of it, yeah.
my most powerful. And most of my clients are clients who want custom sigils for,
Mm.
and I sell them on Depop and Vinted. Not Vinted because they don't get it, but Depop are all right with it. And they work really well. I've had a really good response rate from them. They do. It is the strongest magic, and I do
Yeah.
herbs and plant magic. I love growing. I'm a right gardener,
Do you
and
ever get people who want you to design a sigil as a tattoo?
I mean, they've probably had them tattooed. I
Mm.
don't know. I mean, I've not had that request as yet, but I reckon people have got them tattooed, and I've got mine tattooed on me as well.
Yeah, I've got a couple tattooed on
Uh,
me. So
yeah. Oh yeah, of course, yeah. My very first one that is growth.
yeah,
Yeah, I've had them to sell houses and have perfect births and pass
mhm.
tests and sell. I sold a house beginning of the year, and the woman was desperate for this other house. So I did the sigil, and I knew the power had worked. I felt it
Yeah,
leave, give her all the stuff, and she were quite like, "When's it going to work? When's it going to work?" I said, "Well, you got to trust the process.
yeah,
The magic's there, but I want this house. I know the magic's there, but." Just keep the faith kind of thing. And then she went quiet for a while and I kind of started going like, oh dear, I hope it went through, because I didn't hear for months and months. And then about a month ago, randomly, she messaged me saying, oh my gosh, I didn't tell you, did I? The house I wanted was actually not the house I wanted. This
wow,
house, which I didn't see when you made the sigil, what it was getting built. And then I went to see this house, and as soon as I saw it, the sale went through, and I got this other house, and I was like, "Well, there you go." Then the universe were like, "No, not that one.
yeah. The universe
That
knew, the
one."
magic knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so tell us about your herby stuff. Do you grow your own herbs or yeah?
Yeah, I'm quite basic. I like me normal, easy to recognize ones. I do my own teas, um, nettle tea. I had nettle tea today. I love nettle tea. And when they grow in my garden, I'm like, spread my pretties. I've I've got just yeah, nettle, lavender, I love yarrow. I've got a big yarrow growing.
Oh yeah,
Dandelion, of course. And when the garlic went out, the wild garlic, I got loads of that and made all the soups.
yeah.
Got some mugwort growing now, which is pretty cool.
Tell us about the mugwort.
I got it recently from eBay because I was seeing it in the wild and going like, I'm not 100%, and you don't do it. If you're not 100%, you don't do it.
Yeah,
That is the main rule of being herbalist is there's no denying, you know exactly what that is. Even 97% is not good enough. It's got to be
yeah,
100. Anyway, so I want 100, so I bought one from a guy who does them on eBay, and I've just got it now. Actually, it's outside. It's
yeah,
outside my window, and it's a right beautiful little sexy plant. And I'm gonna make tea from it because it gives you really wild dreams, doesn't it? Like,
yeah.
ooh,
We put it in everything, mugwort.
yeah,
I've got like a big wand of it, like, and it's like been folded over and it's massive. And I got it from a seller on eBay from Wales, I think, naturally grown, and I've still
nice.
got it. It's massive.
It's good for cacao. It's amazing.
Really?
Yeah, I had some in
Oh,
cacao
wow.
from Louise actually for a
Yeah.
full moon ritual maybe a year or two ago, and it was the most amazing cacao I'd ever had. And afterwards, I dreamt amazing dreams for a week.
Oh wow, that's really interesting. Do you know much about yarrow? Because I know that's like a super herb as well. Do you know much about that one?
Yeah, it's good. I think it's good for information. It's quite lucky,
Mm.
um, and it helps you calm your nerves. I think it does. It's a good
Yeah,
all-rounder. It's quite lucky. It's kind of a bit like citrine, but in
yeah.
herbal form, quite sunny. And it smells divine, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've done a couple of herbal courses with the Wiccan lady, but I use her herbal grimoire, and yeah, and I just go back to that on her website and get all the magical uses. And for a while, I was doing workshops with people. We're doing incense blending, and I was trying to sell it as incense blending, but very quickly it becomes spell making. It
Yeah,
just does.
just can't help it.
So it's spell making, but in disguise as incense blending. Yeah, what's your favorite kind of go-to spell? Do you have a particular theme of things that you love to do other than your sigil magic? Mm.
Um, I'm quite simple, really. Just being mindful of the present. I'm really
Yeah,
interested in grounding the present. I do a lot of grounding on a morning I've got a grounding mat and I go outside a lot, talk to the trees and stuff. So I've got tons and tons of spell books.
Yeah.
I don't really use them, if I'm honest. I am
No.
very intuition led and I just like talking out loud. I think because they say speaking out loud is a spell, like the whole
Yeah.
manifestation. So I'm really into that at the moment, speaking out loud to the universe. And I may look a bit weird walking around talking to myself, but I don't care because I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Hey, I went to the corner shop today and stopped by a tree on the corner and I was just like talking to the tree and cars came by.
We need more of that. We need it.
This tree, yeah. I'm just going to do it. For some reason, I've got an idea that you've got a shamanic drum. Have you got a shamanic drum?
I've got a little, is it a little jambi, a teeny tiny one?
Okay,
I used to have a shamanic drum, but I've
okay.
sold it. But
Um,
because I'm very self-conscious with drums. I don't know why this is. I don't know if
yeah,
it's like a past life thing. I buy them and I love them and I sell them really quickly because I just feel like a fool
yeah. No,
banging them.
I think shamanic drumming's coming up for you again because I just got
Ah.
this flash of you with the drum. So I was going to ask you what was your drum. What animal spirit was your drum? Is what I was going to ask you. Yeah. So if anybody in the chat has got questions, please pop them in the chat box. If you anything you want to ask Swailes, let me know. And because the only question we had was what was the sigil? So I've just responded saying it's a magical symbol. Would you like to expand on that a little bit?
It's kind of like a custom rune symbol
Mm.
that I create for a client with a certain outcome in mind. So it's like a representation of a desire that you want to achieve. And there's many different ways you can work with them. In chaos magic, people create the sigil and then like burn it and never see it again, which I'm starting to do actually. But I also quite like looking at them and imagining them when I meditate to work. And they're so versatile. You can do anything with them. You can plant them, you can put them in your tea, you can put them in the makeup on your face and then rub them in. I've got tea coasters with sigils on them, mirror with sigils on them, in dirt everywhere, all over the shop. Yeah, obsessed.
Yeah. I love sigils too. I really do. That's one of my favorite classes that we did at Witch's School is doing that with the wheel and everything and creating your own sigils. Love it.
You can.
Do you think there's any challenges for a witch in the 21st century?
I think there's not like it used to be. There
Yeah.
is still ridicule, isn't there? And I forget sometimes how it's not positive for everybody, and that catches me off guard so much because I'm really open. I'm an open witch. I'm lucky enough to not be bothered about people knowing, and not everybody's has got that. They will do soon, but they're in the broom closet, aren't they? Um, yeah, I guess social media ridicule is probably a problem. But if your
Yeah.
intuition is leading your practice and you are absolutely being true to yourself and speaking to your soul, connecting with the earth and not causing harm, then you're right. You're all right. You should carry on doing that and bollocks what everybody else thinks.
We've got an interesting question in the chat, and it says, do you use your magic practices for your highest good? And have you met people that use their magic in a way that does not fit with your practice? That's a good question.
That is a really good question. Magic for me has been so positive and it has helped me heal mentally. My mental health is the best it's ever been, and I believe that's because my magic has given me power and responsibility, but also self-love and self-worth is to get what I desire and achieve it and think, why not? Why can't I do this? So there's a lot of good stuff in that in terms of magic. And I also wonder what I really want. I mean, in the beginning, you're like, I want this, I want to win a grand, I want to go abroad or go Barbados. But the more you do it, you're a bit like, do I want those stuff? Or is it capitalism that's telling me I want this stuff? Really, I just want to be able to flick to the coast and have a lovely jolly time once every 6 months, and then I'm all right. You don't really need all this stuff. Just because you
Yeah.
can, you maybe shouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. I mean, even I'm not Wiccan. I'm just a pagan, a regular pagan witch. But we still work with the Wiccan rede of harm to none and things like that. So, but have you come across any other witches that don't fit your magical practice?
Yeah, all the time. Some
Yeah.
people think it's all right to cast magic on people
Yeah.
and give them bad luck. I I don't know how they can live with themselves because
No.
I'm not Wiccan either, but I started as a Wiccan.
Yeah.
But it's who I am. Like even before I was magical, I don't want to cause harm to anybody because
Exactly.
how
It's just
could
no
you?
point. I always end every spell with no harm to self or others. Every time. Even
Yeah,
if I'm just doing trigger magic, every time I'll say no harm to self or others. Because you could jeopardize yourself by trying to get that one thing and you could end up with a broken leg or something. What's the point? No harm to
exactly.
self or others. Um
I know when people go, oh, just put them in freezer, get boxer shit, put it in freezer. I'm like, I'm not doing
yeah,
that. I'm
I
not
do
doing that. Anything can happen.
I do the freezer sometimes. There's a couple of people in my freezer, but they're not physically in my freezer, YouTube. They're
Yeah.
for entertainment
Disclaimer.
purposes only. And I just put that in there. So Maria's saying a personal sigil would sounds great, and she'd like to have one made up, perhaps. And Rose saying, "Thank you, you're such an upbeat, positive person." So that's pretty. This has been so good, Swailes. Thank you so much. Would you like to tell everybody how they can find you, and if you've got any promotions coming up or events, let us know.
Yeah, you could just Google the Bell Witch podcast and it will pop up. I'm absolutely everywhere. I'm on Spotify, Apple, and all the little ones like Overcast, Pocket Cast, blooming Amazon, all sorts. And I've also got a Patreon which you could subscribe for as little as I think it's £3 a month, and then I'll do bonus episodes. There's a little bit of poetry on there. I always put the video up of the interview before I edit, so you get a good feel of how I do the editing. And you can buy stuff from me from the Crystal Booth and from my Instagram Depop and Vinted. I think I'm Fenny Green Witch on Vinted, and I might be. Oh, I think I've changed it. I think I'm that on Depop as well. But
Yeah.
if you just mention, like where you've found me, I'll like give you a discount.
Have
Or
you got a link tree? Did I
yeah,
say
I've
a
got
link
a
tree? Yeah, I'll,
yeah, I've
I'll tag
got
it in. I'll tag it in. Oh, this has been so great. Thank you so much for joining us. We'd love to have you back on. And it's been brilliant.
no, it's cool. I've surprised myself. You get a bit nervous, don't you? But it's
You
all
too.
right.
Great.
Really good, really fascinating talk.